Russia's nearly 4-year-long war on Ukraine. President Zelensky says the U.S. is pushing for a peace deal to end the conflict by June. Zelensky says there is a timeline, although there's been no major breakthrough in recent talks. In the meantime, Russia launched overnight strikes in the Kyiv region of Ukraine. Drones struck a warehouse, sparked a fire. Attacks also targeted key energy infrastructure in several regions. Ukrainian President Zelensky says that more than 400 drones and 40 missiles were part of the assault. A Russian spokesperson says in Moscow, a Russian general is in intensive care after being shot in a building on Friday. The 64-year-old is the latest top military leader to be targeted. Russia's foreign minister blamed Ukraine for the shooting without providing any evidence. Ukraine has not commented on that shooting. And this just coming in the high-stakes talks between Iran and the U.S. Iran's foreign minister is vowing to continue Iran's uranium enrichment program. That's despite calls from the U.S. for Iran to stop its nuclear program completely. Indirect talks with Iran over its nuclear future are set to continue next week. President Trump said Friday's discussion in Oman was, or at least went, very well. But the talks did not stop Trump from hitting Iran with new sanctions hours later. The sanctions affect Iranian oil and the 14 vessels transporting it. Trump also warned Iran the U.S. military buildup in the region will continue. So let's go now to CNN international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson. Nick, good morning to you. The Iranians say this program will continue. The president says it has to stop.
Yeah, and the president's applying more pressure through the use of those sanctions. These sanctions are designed to stop Iran being able to provide funding for terrorists, to be able to oppress their people on the streets. That's what the State Department is saying. Both sides came out of those talks yesterday, and remembering these talks were not face-to-face. Steve Witkoff did not meet face-to-face with the Iranian foreign minister. It was through the Omani foreign minister who was interlocutor. They had a couple of sessions. The Iranians made their points to the Omanis. Witkoff got his points backwards and forwards like that. But the meeting broke up with both sides saying that they were believing that there was a possibility for the negotiations to continue. The Iranians sort of framing it as longer-term negotiations despite the lack of trust. President Trump having this to say about the talks.
The results today were with Iran. It was a meeting. We're going to meet again early next week. And they want to make a deal, Iran, as they should want to make a deal. They know the consequences if they don't. If they don't make a deal, the consequences are very steep. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and what's happened today, the Iranian foreign minister has gone for a meeting in Qatar with the Qatari foreign minister. He's had some comments to the media there. And in those comments, he said, if the United States strikes Iran, we will strike U.S. bases in the region. His point to the Qataris, of course, we're not targeting our friends in the region, just the U.S. bases, because going back to the summer of last year when the United States struck Iran fired back at U.S. bases in Qatar, which obviously had a big concern for the Qataris. But that's the message coming from the Iranians. But I think the tough message that is coming across now, the Iranians saying they're only negotiating on the nuclear file. That's the enrichment and the removal of the highly enriched uranium that exists in Iran right now. And the Iranian foreign minister today doubling down on their position, saying it's an inalienable right that Iran can enrich uranium. Zero enrichment is not on the table. That seems to fly in the face of what President Trump wants. And they're also saying they're not willing to discuss Iran's ballistic missiles at all. That's not going to go on the negotiating table. They say, again, that's something President Trump wants to see taken out of Iran's hands.
Nick Robertson reporting. Thank you very much.